Before you got on, Connor, we watched like the full clip of Syndergaard throwing at the guy and like the whole beginning of the Terry Collins thing. It's fucking
Oh, yeah.
It's just amazing. Every
Great
time.
baseball clip. Great baseball moment.
We were at that game.
Yeah, I remember you guys saying that. Crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it sucked after that.
It sucked.
It really sucked after that moment. But what do you guys want to start with? I know we want to hit on. I know I want to talk about rookies. Want to talk about players of the week. Another guy I want to break down Matt Chapman at some point. We could start with players of the week.
I think we start with players of the week.
You want to start it out, Connor?
Sure. So I think in my mind, I guess there were two ways really, especially after today, including Thursday. I think I think we kind of agreed to do like Thursday through Wednesday, whatever. Today is Thursday when we're recording, but I think the hitter of the week at least is pretty clear in my mind, and that's Luis Ariz. I mean, hits for the cycle on a Tuesday. He's hitting like 526 over the past week. Sitting like 500 on the season right now. Doing wonders for that Marlins offense. I think they're still below 500. They don't have a great team by any stretch of the imagination, but yeah. I mean that trade that the Marlins have made with the Twins, obviously working out well for them, working out well for the Twins. Pablo Lopez has been really good for the Twins, but I mean that feels like one of the rare situations right now where it's like a win-win situation. But yeah, Luis Ariz, my hitter of the week.
Okay, yeah, I want a different route. I chose Brandon Lau. He had 8 for 18, 5 homers during the week. 12 RBIs was the second most. I think Ryan Mountcastle, because he had 9 RBIs in a game, had more RBIs for the week. And then he had the best OPS for the week as well. I'll let you go with your hitter, Jake, and then we'll talk about pitchers.
Well, Connor kind of stole my hitter, but I had a backup. I'll go with Jared Kelnick. I mean, the guy, young player. I mean, I know.
I really hope he's good, but like I think
he's mashing the ball right now.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, this week alone, he had 455. He hit the ball in Chicago to dead center up in the upper deck where no one ever hits it. It was like 480, according to the Statcast. It could have been further.
I mean, I think it'd be fun if he was good.
I mean, it would suck because the Mets traded
Right.
Robinson Cano and Edwin Diaz isn't playing. Robinson Cano was an utter disaster, but I mean, the Mariners team's fun to watch. They got a lot of fun.
I mean, certainly he has the ability to be good, right? Like, I mean, he was the number one prospect in baseball for an extended amount of time. Like, the tools are there. Yeah. It's just it hasn't panned out yet.
He's still young. I think he's still
right.
He's still young too.
Yeah,
and it'd be fun to see like another young star rise with Julio Rodriguez and that Mariners team. It'd be really fun.
I mean, they get both of those. They can hit, and obviously, like their pitching's been like somewhat reliable. I mean,
Luis Castillo's a big pickup. I don't really think
their
trade deadline last year. Like he's an ace.
Yeah, and there's not too many guys that have been better than like Munoz and Sewald, like two guys back in the back of a bullpen that like are good. I think Munoz just got hurt though, unfortunately.
Rough year for Robbie Ray last year. Hopefully, he picks it up this year. I mean, he's one of I mean, over the years before he came to Seattle, like he was one of the best strikeout pitchers in major leagues. I would anticipate a bounce back year for him. So I'm not really sure what kind of numbers he's putting up so far this year, but yeah, the Mariners, they're an exciting team. Like who knows? The Astros have been beatable so far this year. Maybe the AL West is more open than we originally thought it was.
I think as long as Altuve's out, I mean, I think that takes a lot from that.
Certainly,
team,
and I mean, I think the general rule of thumb is like try not to look at the standings before 20 games have passed. But I mean, you look at the standings right now, and what the Rangers are in first in the AL West right now. So I mean, the division seems open as of right now.
Yeah, they're what 7-5.
They're like something like that. But they also Corey Seager's out for a while, and that is a lot of their offense.
Yeah,
but DeGrom looks pretty good. We'll say he's kind of back there.
Well, I'll jump in with my pitcher of the week. It's a Twins player, so had to go with Sonny Gray here. He's been killing it. 12 innings pitched, 18 strikeouts in 2 starts. 0.75 ERA, 0.83 WHIP. Hasn't given up a home run. Officially picked him up in both fantasy leagues. Thank you very much. But yeah, I think there's a few guys you can go with here, but I think Sonny Gray has just been the best in my mind.
Yeah, I also had Sonny Gray picked originally. The Twins. Yeah, the Twins rotation has been really good this year. I want to give a shout out to them. I mean, I think they have the second lowest ERA as a team right now, and I think also the second lowest starting pitching ERA. And as I mentioned before, Pablo Lopez has also been a big part of that. That was another name I kind of looked at this week. He had a rough start against the White Sox on Tuesday. He gave up 2 earned in that first inning before recording an out, actually, and then retired 23 consecutive batters. So that was crazy. Like he got into a zone.
Has their bullpen been good?
Bullpen's been pretty solid for the Twins. They've had.
They haven't given up runs.
Right.
So, I assume
The bullpen's been good. Duran now who's kind of like filled in that typical closer role a little bit. It seems like Rocco Baldelli is going to go to typical closer. He's given up 2 home runs now in his last 2 outings, which forced extra innings on Tuesday against the White Sox, and then he came into a 3-0 ball game against the White Sox the other day, so a solo shot, both to lead off the inning. So that's a little bit concerning. Yeah. I mean, when you throw 102, 103, like sometimes you're going to get taken deep, but outside of, Sonny Gray was the guy I had picked. Another guy that I was kind of like, not like actually considering picking, but just like an oddity is like Hunter Green once again. Like another of those guys where it's like, I see something on Twitter, and I looked at my roommate when I saw this. I see Hunter Green strikes out the side in the second inning. I'm like, what are the odds that this guy gave up 2+ runs in that inning too? And sure enough, you look, and like he gave up 3 runs in the bottom of the second. He struck out 3 batters in the second inning, but he also gave up 3 runs.
That's what he is.
What the hell is going on here? Like he either strikes, like it's I don't know what his strikeout rate is, but it must be insane. Yeah, insane. But he either gets barreled up or he strikes the guy out. Like there's almost no in between.
It's insane.
Speaking of Twins guys, though, did you see Taylor Rogers? Like the outing the other day, he walked 4 guys, and then he just walked into the dugout and he just placed. He
threw his garbage. He threw his glove in the garbage. That was awesome.
Like he didn't even show any signs of frustration. He just threw it out
and then just walked away. That's all he did.
Yeah, but kind of sidetracked us there. But Sonny Gray was also my choice for pitcher of the week.
Are you gonna make it 3? Are you gonna make it 3, Jake?
No, I'm actually gonna go with a Reds player. So not Hunter Green, but Nick Lodolo. You said Sonny Gray, 12 innings pitch, 18 strikeouts. Nick Lodolo, 12 innings pitch, 18 strikeouts.
Are the Reds good?
I believe one of the starts was against the Braves, I think.
The Reds can't be good, right?
No, they've blown every game. Like, their bullpen's terrible. They're winning like every game, but then they blow it in like the 8th or 9th inning.
The start that Lodolo had against the Braves was a game that they were up, I think 3-1 in the 7th or something, and the bullpen blows.
And you were like, here comes the Reds bullpen, and then sure enough, like 10 minutes later, the game's already over.
So bad. And Lodolo's Lodolo's really young, isn't he? He's like 25. Yeah, 25.
They actually have a decent pitching staff. They have him. He's kind of a funky lefty too. Like he's kind of got that Chris Sale kind of deal with him. So see about his arm, but he kind of just slings it. But he's a good player.
One guy I was considering, which I kind of like alluded to before, like Matt Chapman is absolutely killing the ball. He got scratched from the game today because he was like sick or something. But when I was looking at it on Tuesday, and in 44 plate appearances, he was 19 hits was first in the MLB, 7 doubles was first in the MLB, 475 average was second in the MLB. His WOBA was second in the MLB. And then like StatCast, he was second in barrels per plate appearance, first in hard hit percentage. He's like absolutely killing it right now. And Toronto, I think, has the highest, most runs in baseball. I think when we were looking at the stats before.
They have the highest average. I know that. Overall,
looking at Chapman right now, his BABIP is 588, which is just crazy.
He's never hit this well before, ever.
I'm gonna pull up some clips here because like he hits it everywhere. Like I made a like mashup of like his clips from the beginning. Like just look at this. Like this one, he drives the other way. Can you guys see that well?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He drives that one the other way. Another like double against the wall the other way. Like he just hits it to all fields, and he's absolutely destroying the ball. It's insane.
I don't know where this came from because like he was never really a good hitter, to be honest with you. He was like a 230, 240 kind of guy, just made every play in the field.
Like he has like some opposite field pop this year. Like
he must have done something this offseason. I mean, isn't this a free agent year for him too?
Yeah. And then while I was looking at that was just his stats like since Tuesday. That while I was looking at his stats on Tuesday, he went 2 for 4 with a homer, and then he went 2 for 3 yesterday with a double. Like
yeah.
And I was kind of frustrated because I thought they actually didn't play him today, but apparently he got sick, so like he was like a late scratch. But I mean, he is just
right. I mean, he's bad. Yeah, 489 average on the year. He's slugging 851. Like what?
Yeah,
what is happening?
I think it's like what's happening.
I think he was only behind a rise in average, and I think he was behind Duval in OPS or something, or WOBA or something. But I don't. That might have changed since.
Right, and now Duval's out for an extended amount of time, right? So
I did see.
What did you hear?
I think he broke his wrist or broke his hand or something. I could be totally off there, but it was something on the arm. I think.
I just saw it today. I was telling Jake before. I just saw that Tristan McKenzie got upgraded to IL 60 from IL 15. I don't know.
I haven't heard anything about him.
He must have had a setback. He must have had a setback and whatever he had injured, and then there was a bunch of shitty injuries. Like Jeffrey Springs just got hurt.
It was like I don't think it's Tommy John. That's what they said. It's like inflammation.
Did you guys see the Red Sox guy?
Yeah, that stinks too.
Dude, that was sad, man. Did you see that, Jake?
Minors.
No.
He threw a pitch and he hit. I think it was like Wander Franco or something. But like as soon as he threw the pitch, like
no, I did see that one.
Yeah, no, just got like really emotional because like he realized like he was fucked. And then like Kyle Farmer got drilled in the face.
Dude, that was bad. He had to get his teeth realigned.
Yeah. Well, they wouldn't even like show the replay. I did not that I wanted to see what it looked like.
I think it was like a literal direct hit to the face. Like you don't see that too. Usually like it hits
he got hit directly. And he had been good for the Twins.
Honestly, I mean it's crazy. We'll see how long. Sometimes those guys come back earlier than you think with those injuries, which is wild because like I don't know if he got a concussion or not because they didn't say that, which is what's weird.
I don't know.
I can imagine it's hard mentally to come back from that too. Like I mean, you gotta.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's wild. Like Stanton and a lot of those guys that get hit. Like I think Pilar a few years ago. Like a lot of those guys, they have like bruises everywhere, but they come back. It's insane.
Stanton was like the first guy to like get the flap, right? Because like after all that,
because he had a similar thing. He pretty much got hit right in the face.
Yeah. Well, he like started to swing, so he got like hit like straight on. Like that was weird.
Farmer was like it kind of just hit him. Like it comes up to look at him.
I think Farmer had like the protection too, didn't he? Like and he still just found a way to hit him in the
Yeah.
I think they had a lot of run.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was like it almost looked like it was like a 2-seamer like coming like in.
Yeah, he has a lot of run on his pitches. So
yeah. But I think that rounds out our players of the week. I wanted to talk about rookies for a little bit, but I think there was other stuff. Well, you went to Busch, right, for the first time?
How did you Busch Stadium for the first time. St. Louis Busch Stadium, really cool stadium. Really cool around the stadium. They got like their ballpark village, which is like their version of kind of like Wrigleyville. That was really cool. It was a beautiful day outside. So many people out before the game, just kind of hanging out around that area. Cardinals Hall of Fame was cool. That's right in that area too, that ballpark village area. Huge stadium. I didn't realize how big it was. I think it's like 50,000 capacity or something.
Holy
went on Monday night and like it was pretty full on Monday night. They're playing the Braves.
I think they sell out most nights. They love baseball. Yeah, it's like I think it is.
It's a great. Yeah, it's definitely a great baseball city. Up there. It was really cool stadium. Cardinals lost to the Braves. Cardinals pitching is a little bit pretty suspect. Starting pitching's not great. Bullpen's even worse.
They're not as good as people. I
thought they were going to be good too. They can't really pitch. Like they just.
And the
Brewers are looking damn good.
Right, where's the offense coming from for the Brewers? Like all of a sudden,
it was all these young guys. I remember they watched them play the Mets. I mean, it was these young guys are just hitting.
Like Brian Anderson,
just playing well.
Brian Anderson and Garrett Mitchell.
Yep. Like, no idea.
That's who's carrying the offense.
I think Yelich is starting to actually play a little better. Finally,
Yeah,
he's starting to figure it out again. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, won the MVP. Or did he win the MVP?
Yeah, he did.
2019, right? I think he won it over Bellinger.
Another guy, jeez.
No, he did. He did for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Busch Stadium really cool. You had your first experience at Camden Yards, right?
Yeah, I've been there. I went. Last night was my third game since the last episode.
Yep.
So, yeah, it was kind of crazy. Like I went to the game on Sunday. It was a Sunday day game, and I was like talking to people at the game, and that game that I was at, plus like they said, Saturday night game was like 75%, 80% Yankee fans. It was crazy, but it's like you can't get seats like that at Yankee Stadium. Like you would have to pay, you would have to get a mortgage on your house to pay like to get anywhere near home plate at a Yankees game. Like it's crazy. So I mean, it makes sense. Like if you can get that close and like get good seats, I see why people like will make the drive for that.
Yeah,
but opening day was definitely like 90% Orioles fans, but like their other two games, like complete opposite. It was very strange because I went to opening day and I thought the whole series was going to be like that, and then I showed up on Sunday and I was like, "What the hell is going on?"
Yeah,
I've never seen that.
Old Miller Park, Busch Stadium, Wrigley Field. What is the White Sox stadium called? Cellular Field now. I don't. Whatever. I've been to America. I've been to Guaranteed Rate. I've been to Citi Field. I've been to Fenway. I've been to Camden.
Kevin, I can tell you that much.
And I think that's it.
Kevin's been to like 7 or 8. If we went over the last week, I was like, dude, get to some games, man.
I want to go to all. I think I've been to 10. 10 or...
Really, I think I've hit 17.
Problem is, I just haven't hit any of the West Coast ones. Like I haven't been.
I've been to Coors.
I went to San Diego, Denver.
Really cool too.
Oh, that's cool.
That's
such a
that
cool
one.
stadium.
That one's like
good,
top of my
list. Good food too. That's a cool stadium. That area around there is pretty cool too. It's like.
All right, I wanted to talk about rookies. Did you guys want to talk about anything before that?
No. Rookies, and then just kind of go around the MLB.
Yeah.
We can go over the ESPN power rankings.
Yeah.
I love those.
I haven't seen them.
Didn't they still have like the Padres as like top 5?
Yeah, no, they have them above the Mets, but they did beat the Braves. They have the Twins. I think the Twins went down.
I really haven't heard. Yeah, I think they did.
What did the Twins go down for?
And then I want to say the Padres went up.
Yeah, I think. Well, because to be fair, they took 3 out of 4 in Atlanta.
I don't care. They're 7-6.
So is the whole MLB is average right now. To be honest with you, look at records. It's actually kind of wild.
I mean, nobody has less than
Twins 11
4 losses. Other than...
Yeah, and they were higher
before.
than that.
Nobody. I don't think anybody has less losses than 4 losses other than the Rays. Like nobody's even.
No.
Like there's so many middle of the pack teams right now.
There's some pretty bad teams too, though. Don't ignore that. They're pretty fucking bad.
When I found out who the best rookie of the year has been so far, it kind of pissed me off because he's on the Dodgers.
The outfielder. What's his fucking name? He's on my fantasy team.
James Outman. What's crazy is the Dodgers have 7 guys in the top 100 prospects, which is like one of the top teams. This guy is their 8th best prospect. He's not even in
Oh my gosh.
They have 7 other prospects that are better than this guy. But he has 3 triples already, which is best in the MLB. 3 homers, 10 RBIs, which is like top 20 in the MLB. His OPS is 5th in the entire, not among in the MLB. Dude's fucking killing it right now. And he's about to turn 26. He was a 7th round pick in 2018, but he's absolutely killing the ball right now. You picked him up in fantasy? When did you pick him up in fantasy?
About a week ago. Kind of before he burst, a little bit before he burst on. I mean, he was putting up good numbers. I needed someone to play in the outfield, which is kind of what started it. I just didn't have a guy playing. I was looking at outfielders, and I saw this James Outman guy. I'm seeing he's playing every day for the Dodgers. I'm like, well, this is going to be the next guy, huh? That kind of just breaks onto the scene randomly for the Dodgers, and has a great year and then goes somewhere else or something.
I was talking about it before. Like my dynasty team has Max Fried on the IL, has Tristan McKenzie on the IL, has Jeffrey Springs on that team, and I picked up Savali on the Guardians, and he got hurt this week too.
Unlucky.
And it has Eloy Jimenez on the IL. Like how did that many guys get hurt in 2 weeks? How is that possible?
Yep.
But the next guy I'm going to talk about, he's a catcher for the Angels. His name is Logan O'Hoppe. Jake knows who he is because he played against him.
I didn't play. I watched him on the bench.
So he's from Long Island. He was in the same conference as the high school me and Jake went to. I don't think you didn't say he was that good though then, right?
I mean, he was definitely good, but I would never thought starting in the MLB.
He was a
that's crazy.
23rd round pick in 2018
by the Phillies, right?
I don't remember, but he was number 53 before this year on the prospect list.
Not really. So he was all right. I think he just
his 4 home runs are first among rookies. OPS is 4th. He's got 11 RBIs this year. OBP is not that great, like 308, and he hasn't walked a lot. His average isn't that great, but I mean the pop's definitely there. Next guy I want to talk about is Spencer Steer, third baseman for the Reds.
Former Twin.
Batting .325.
Former Twin.
Yeah, he was drafted by the Twins.
Yeah. Really?
Did you know that before this year? Like, did you remember?
I mean, I knew he was part of that Tyler Mahle trade. Like, he was one of the bigger prospects in that trade. It was him and that and Carcion Strand, who was the other bigger prospect. Mm-hmm. Spencer Steer was the top prospect in that trade, though.
His .325 average is first among rookies right now. OPS is third among rookies, almost at 1,000 there. And he's got 6 walks to 7 strikeouts. So, I mean, he's putting some good at-bats together. 2 home runs, 4 RBI, 4 doubles, I should say. So the pop's there. Former third-round pick in 2019 by the Twins. So, and then we can talk about Jordan Walker a little bit. I mean, he's been good. He hasn't shown the pop that I think everybody's really been talking about, but he's batting over 300 right now. He's got 2 home runs. Jake kind of mentioned this before, but started his career with a 12-game hitting streak, which I mean that's pretty cool. To start your career that way.
Yeah, I'd say so. Pretty solid.
Yeah,
it's all right.
Special.
It's the right way to start your career, I guess. And then I just put Corbin Carroll on here just like for purposes of hype. I mean, he hasn't really played super well, but I mean, he's got 5 stolen bases already, but he's only batting .255, and he's not a guy that's going to walk a lot. So he's only got like a .271 on base.
Yeah, in fact, he hasn't walked yet.
3 home runs.
48 plate appearances, 0 walks.
That usually.
I'm sure it'll regress more towards average, but that doesn't. That's not a great sign necessarily. I mean, a lot of rookies do struggle with that big league eye to come in, but I wouldn't react to that much. I mean, especially 48 plate appearances isn't a ton, but it is something to keep an eye on, certainly.
Yeah. I mean, he's got 3 home runs already, so that makes me think that maybe the pop is there enough that they can't just pound him with strikes all the time, and they have to be a little bit more careful. Maybe that'll end up in more walks. Mm-hmm. And then it was really just the hitters I was looking at because there wasn't a lot of rookie pitchers that kind of jumped off the page at me. I mean, Senga, obviously, I mean, he's been pretty strong this year, 1.59 ERA, which is second. The guy that's first in ERA among rookies is Dre Jameson, who I'd never heard of. I think he's like the 5th highest prospect for the Diamondbacks, but he's got a 1.46 ERA in 2 starts. And he was actually 3-0 last year with 24 innings pitched and a 1.48 ERA last year. So far to start his career between this year and last year, he's 5-0 with a 1.47 and 36 innings. So, I mean, that's a pretty good way to start your career. I mean, Diamondbacks pitching has been pretty strong. I mean, I think they're 7-5. Zach Allen, Merrill Kelly, if this guy continues his success, I mean, maybe the Diamondbacks have a shot at, being relevant. I mean, I don't think they'll make any noise in the division, but they might be relevant.
They're creating hell on the base paths.
If there's a year,
that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. I mean, if there's a year they play the Dodgers 12 times to even go 500 against them, it's probably this year.
Yeah,
because they're probably just going to get better. So
yeah. And then the last guy I picked out just for, I don't know, have you guys heard of Brent Honeywell? He was
yeah.
They released a clip the other day that he was talking about like how he throws like a screwball. That's really why I included him here. I mean, he has a 2.16 ERA, which is fourth among rookies. They've been kind of using him as like I don't even know what to call. Like they've been bringing him in for like relief outings, like a little bit longer than 1 inning, like 1 to 2 innings. So I don't know. I guess like a kind of like a long middle reliever type.
Is he still a rookie technically? I could have sworn he debuted like 2 or 3 years ago.
I don't know. They MLB technically listed him as a qualified rookie. Maybe he isn't actually, but
he pitched I think at least in one of the 2 of the games against the Mets recently. And
yeah, I know he was talking about. They released a clip on MLB of him talking about like how he throws a screwball. I thought it was pretty interesting because it's not something you really see anymore. I mean, I know like Devin Williams kind of throws something similar to it. I mean,
pretty much it.
I don't know. Is it a circle change though with Devin Williams, or is it actually a screwball?
I mean, it moves a lot.
I just thought it was a circle change that like just moves a ridiculous amount. Maybe it is more of like a curveball grip. I mean, I guess they're pretty similar.
Or I mean, he throws it completely separate, but like Kodai Senga's ghost fork pitch too has that kind of similar movement to it.
Yeah,
faster.
And then they were also talking about like Ohtani with his sweeper this year, like how much he's added. I mean, it's pretty interesting to see like new pitches coming about. And,
isn't there the guy in the Padres? He throws a slutter.
Yeah, did you see that?
Who is it? I forget who it is. Let me look it up.
And it was was it? I think it was it was like Jeff Francoeur on the call, where he's like, I'm not sure if I can say that.
The Mets announcers were all over that. They kept saying it over and over again. They were like, "This guy's warming up. You know what that means? Here comes the slutter."
The Mets announcers is like arguably the best. They really are.
They probably are.
They really are. All right, so what else do we want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, real quick before we move on rookies, just I think 2 other guys to bring up. One being the Garrett Mitchell from the Brewers. Had a big last week. He's batting .316 right now. He's got 3 home runs on the year. Obviously, hit that walk-off home run. Outside of him, just another rookie that hit a walk-off home run, being that Ji Hwan Bae from the Pirates. I think him and Ji-Man Choi were like the first Korean. I think it was Korean teammates to hit home runs in the same game. So that was cool to see.
Oh, really?
I think he hit his walk-off home run against the Astros, right, too, which is also kind of like an added bonus in there, too.
Yeah, of course.
He's not having a great year so far. I mean, he's a rookie, playing fine. But, yeah, just kind of another cool moment in the MLB this year.
Yeah, I was so pissed that I wasn't at the game for the Orioles. I was at the Orioles game yesterday. That sucked. On Tuesday, Mountcastle had 9 RBIs, and it was a great back-and-forth game. And then today, Adley Rutschman hits a walk-off home run. I had to go to the one crappy game of the series.
To you, Kevin, what do you expect?
That's true. That's a fair point. I want to look at, like, best and worst team. Holy crap. The Rays have scored 22 more runs than the team in second place.
Yeah, and they have 6 more home runs than the next closest team.
What the hell?
I think they've also given up the least amount. They've also given up the least amount of runs, right? And the Twins are second there.
Yeah,
Twins are up there, but to be fair, the Twins have played a lot tougher competition. I feel like, but
they've only their run differential in 13 games is 71.
Yeah, is that a record? I mean, that has to be close.
71. It's 101 to 30. That's absolutely insane.
Yep. And I mean, you get today, and it looks like, maybe the winning streak's coming to an end, and then, 7-run inning. And like how they got to that 7 runs was crazy. Like, I think it's bases loaded, right? And I think it's 4-3 in the game at this point. And Manuel Margot's up, and he just puts a little bunt down the third base line and gets a single out of it, and the run scores.
But did you see the hits that they were getting?
No, I've only seen that one, really.
2 of the hits in that inning, like Rosarena got a hit, and I forget the other guy that got a hit that were literally pitches at their ankles, and like for a Rosarena at least, like they were in a shift, so he literally just hit it to the right, like he just went with whatever pitch he could hit to the right side of the field, and it was at his ankles, and it was just an RBI single. Like I don't know what they're doing that's different. I don't know if it's just playing crappy teams this year, but something's working.
I mean, they're a good team, but I mean, I think Rosarena a home run to right field yesterday. I'm pretty sure the ball might have been out of the strike zone.
Yeah.
I don't understand. It's not the playoffs yet. I don't know what Rosarena's doing.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
But it's like, I mean, you can make the point about them beating bad teams, but like good teams still lose to bad teams in the MLB. Like you lose.
They're also and they're dominating too. No, they're not just winning; they're dominating.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like you look at the run differential, and it tells the whole story. And like they've had 2 games now. That have been decided by under 4 runs. Like it's just crazy.
Yeah,
something like that.
I mean, if you average 9 runs a game and average giving up 2 for 13 games, you can't say
you might break the record. You might break the record to keep that up.
You can't just say that they're playing bad teams. Like they're at the top of their game right now.
And the scariest part is they don't have Blaz now. Like he's coming back relatively soon.
No, they don't. He's supposed to come back this year. Finally.
Yeah. But it definitely seemed like maybe like Jeffrey Springs' injury was going to take like the air out of their sails, and then all of a sudden
they scored 7.
They scored 7, and you're like, okay, they didn't miss a beat. Like they're not worried about that, you know. Like it's just.
And the guy that came in for Jeffrey Springs, right? I think he was a rookie, and all of a sudden, like he strikes out like 4 of the first 5 batters that he faces, or something crazy. Where are they finding these guys? It's just it's a factory down there. They just produce pitchers.
Yeah, and like I think last year they had like 3 or 4 guys out of the bullpen that had like 2 ERAs that nobody's ever heard of.
Oh, they had Brooks Raley. It was one of the guys the Mets got. He had a sub 2.
And there was like some guy named Jason Adam was like
Jason Adam. Yep.
And then I think Fairbanks got hurt last year.
Yeah, I think so. But I think he came back and
then
they pitching pretty well.
Brought in other guys, and then like Drew Rasmussen is pitching crazy this year. I don't know what to say. Like there's something in the water over there or something. There's no explanation to be able to pitch that well. Like so,
and they still don't get people to go to the games.
Yeah,
I haven't been to that field, but that field looks terrible on TV.
Yeah,
I've been there. I've been there.
They're 13.
It's weird. It's weird.
They could get to 20 wins, and like there would still be nobody at the game. Like they're like, who's showing out for that team?
It's just because where the location is. You have to like go across the bridge. It's only in Tampa.
What were we talking
like
about?
St. Petersburg,
Utah. That they were thinking about.
Oh, that would be so cool. I feel like they built a crazy stadium there. I feel like that stadium could be nuts with like the mountains in the background and stuff.
I mean, so if you add one team, you obviously got to add a second too, right? I mean, so it'd be maybe that's Salt Lake City and like
it has to be.
You think Vegas, or do they go like Vancouver,
Nashville?
Do they go with a second Canada team?
Like
Nashville.
I was thinking like Nashville, because like my thought is like every other sport, like you have a team in Tennessee or you have a team in Carolina, like you have something in that area, like. Everybody that's like from that area is a Braves fan because there's no other team there.
I agree. They should do. I mean, I don't know if Charlotte. I think Nashville would be cooler than like Charlotte.
Like
Nashville's
all
you get so many people in Nashville.
Like all like the country singers that are like from like the Carolinas and Tennessee and all them, like they're all Braves fans because there's no other team there. And I feel like if you had a team there, I feel like there's enough people that are into baseball in that area that like I think you could make a good team. Or like, you know, a team that would like bring an audience.
You would also get a ton of like tourists just going to Nashville.
Like I would be fine in Nashville. I would be fine in Charlotte. Like anything in that area, I think would like fill a part of the country that's like doesn't have a team.
Mm-hmm.
No team in Kentucky either.
I
think fans from Kentucky in Nashville.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would move the needle. Like if they put a team there, as far as like.
I think it'd be awesome if they added 2 teams, one like I said, one West, and even one East. I mean, like Vancouver's not a bad idea. I feel like that'd be cool to have 2 teams up in Canada.
Because I don't think the A's moving is ever really going to happen.
I don't know.
From the sounds of it, I think they got.
Could.
I think I've heard something that Oakland like approved like the building for a new stadium. I think they still have to get the funding for it, but like I think that's like a possibility. And like I don't think much ground has been made in Vegas in respects to actually like building a stadium or any sort of that stuff.
It'd be so cool to have a team there, though. Oh man, that place would be crazy.
Yeah,
those games.
I mean, do people go to the Knights games?
Yes.
Yeah.
Those games are nuts. They became fans instantly. People there. Plus, you're always like, but similar to Nashville, you're always gonna get people. No matter what weekend, there will be people in the city.
Yeah.
That's not gonna be a problem. Like no matter when it is, there will be people there,
yeah.
and the weather's probably gonna be nice. Yeah. Just because it's in the desert and it doesn't rain much there.
Do the Titans play in Memphis or Nashville?
Nashville.
It's Nashville.
Yeah, and so do the hockey team.
Predators.
Nashville Predators.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I mean, if you want to count the Grizzlies, I mean, Memphis is pretty far. Like
it's far. It's like way.
Memphis is not far, not close to anything. So like, you can count the Grizzlies, but it's not close to that area really at all.
Yeah.
But the Orioles are the third highest run scored. Hell yeah!
What's their ERA? What's their ERA though?
Oh, it's bad. It's
got to be really bad.
Yeah, giving up 73 runs.
They're starting pitch.
Ooh.
Yeah, they're 5.49 ERA. It's fourth worst. Like, I'm gonna have a bold take. I don't think their starting pitching is that bad, but their bullpen is one of the worst bullpens I've ever seen in my entire.
They have a closer, and that is it.
Yeah.
They have absolutely nobody. I think their starting pitching is pretty rough.
I mean, just think the series against the A's. I mean, they gave up 9, 9, and 7 to the A's. To the A's.
It's not good. I mean, they beat the Yankees, right? Or did they pitch well in any of those games? No, right? They just scored a lot of runs. They scored a ton of runs.
Second game, the Yankees only won 4-1. Third game was 4-something. No,
still 4. There's 4 every game.
I mean, they gave up 2 home runs to Judge on Sunday. I mean, you can't really avoid that.
I guess that's fair.
You can't really avoid that.
There are a lot of really, really bad bullpens in the MLB, though. It's like there are a lot of teams that have bad bullpens.
It is crazy. Yeah. It's honestly, I feel like there's really only a few teams you could say maybe have a good bullpen.
But like, if you look around the league, what relievers are like reliable? There's like 5. There's like 5 like there's like 5 to maybe like 7 closers that you're like, I'm confident in those guys. Like you don't even have like a full 10 or 15 guys that you could say like, oh, those are good closers for their team. Like that just
Clase is obviously one, and Bednar's another.
Yeah.
I think Robertson. I don't think Robertson. I think he's 5 appearances, no runs yet so far.
Do you truly trust him though? Like over the course of a season?
Like
it feels like that's something that's gonna go south.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
I don't know if it's gonna be a complete disaster. I just think it'll be like. I think it won't. If in a 1-run game against the Atlanta Braves in August, I'm not sure if I really want David Robertson in the game to close the game out. That's
how I feel about Clay Holmes, because he started the year out really good last year.
He is so wild.
Yeah.
I watched the end of that Guardians game the other day. I mean, he just couldn't find the strike zone.
Yeah.
At all.
I think part of it's just like he throws that sinker with like so hard and with so much movement that
he doesn't know where it's going. I feel like he just kind of throws it.
He just overthrows it like to like a point, and it just I don't know. Like, I mean, how many guys are you look around the league? Like, it's really like Class A. I mean, with Edwin Diaz out, like I would trust Class A. I wouldn't even trust Hader, honestly.
No, he almost blew the game against the Mets.
Like, he's too wild too. Like, I would trust Presley.
Yeah.
Presley gave the walk-off home run the other day.
I would trust in a game in October though. I would trust Presley over probably any other guy.
Yeah, he's been there. I agree.
Devin Williams is in that category of people you trust to close out a game. I mean, he's new to the closer role, but
yeah, I'd like to see more.
Sure.
I'd like
he's
to see
also
more.
Kind of hurt for a little bit this year.
Never
nothing serious, but like he missed like a few games there.
I mean, you look around the league. Like, who else do you trust?
I'm trying to look.
People were hyping up Doval on the Giants.
That guy's so wild.
I haven't seen enough from him either. He's another guy that's just all over the place. Jordan Romano, I trust.
I think doesn't he have like a pretty high ERA this year? I mean, I do, but so far, but yeah, I do trust him.
I would trust him because I mean he's been around the block. He's been there. as a new Orioles fan, as my second,
you can't beat Orioles any Yankees fan.
Felix Bautista shut down the Yankees when he came in the game. He's
good.
Like he has got the fastball splitter combo. It's like 100's up here and 85 is like hitting the plate, and they look exactly the same. I would rely on him.
Yep. Jorge Lopez has been pretty good. I mean, he hasn't closed out really any games, but he's been good for the Twins so far this year after being awful after they traded for him at the trade deadline last year. Oh my goodness. Like he was so good with the Orioles for so long, and then he was terrible when he got to Minnesota. But he's been good so far this year.
Has the league always been like that? That there hasn't been that many reliable bullpen guys, or am I just are we reading into it too much, or is that how it usually is?
I think it's kind of always like this, where there aren't that many dominant closers.
I think it is always like this. Yeah, I'm trying to see what's a lot of saves. Like I'm trying to see if I can find it. I feel like it's usually like this. So I feel like there are some dominant closers, but like it's what I mean. The guys in the middle, some of these teams that guys that come in the game, you're like, how is this guy pitching in the 8th inning?
Yeah.
Like Jake brought up David Bednar. I mean, the Pirates are 8-5 right now, but like I mean, that seems like that's going to be a guy who's probably going to have his name mentioned a lot towards the trade deadline come June, July here. There's no way that team makes the playoffs or competes for a playoff spot.
I think Daniel Bard is somebody that could go at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not young by any means, but
for a year rental, for a half year.
I mean, he was really, really good last year. I don't know really how he's done so far this year. I mean, the Rockies. Where are the Rockies at? The Rockies are
not good.
8, so. Yeah.
I want to say the Rockies have gotten like shut out once or twice at Coors Field this year too, which is just crazy.
Yeah, but like if I saw any glimpse of like a bullpen guy that's on the that's available, I'm going for it if I'm a team right now. There's just I think you have to really have a chance in the playoffs. I mean, I think that's what gives you the leg up.
Right. Yeah, you need to
even look like I don't even think Daniel Bard's pitched this year. Daniel Bard might be injured because I don't think he's pitched this year.
Let me see. Yeah, I feel like I remember hearing that actually.
I mean, it doesn't make sense because he's about to turn 38 years old, so he probably had to get a hip replacement or something.
I don't know. Yeah, not really much else to talk about in the AL East, though. I mean, Tampa Bay obviously dominant. Yankees and Blue Jays have both been good. Nothing crazy to start the year. Baltimore's been solid to start the year, and the Red Sox haven't been very good. Obviously, other than the Rays, I don't think there's really any huge surprises or any players on any of those teams other than Chapman, who we've already talked about earlier this episode, that really stood out. At least, Adley Rutschman. Adley Rutschman's definitely worth talking about. Walk-off home run today.
Oh my gosh.
We briefly mentioned that.
It's weird. It's like he's had the 4-for-4 game and the 5-for-5 game. He probably has 5 hits other than those 2 games. It's just it's like he goes 1 for 5 or he goes 5 for 5 with a homer.
Yeah. Is he playing really well? Is he playing good defense or no?
No. I checked today and he's he was one of the best blocking catchers last year, but I want to say they played him at DH 3 or 4 games this year.
See, I disagree with. I think he needs to catch every day. I think you got to get his defense.
I agree because I think for longevity, I don't think you want him to catch every day, but I think.
But at least for now, while he's still young,
acclimating him.
He's only 20. He's 25, so you don't want to,
For acclimating him into the MLB, I mean, in high school he's played catcher every day. In college he's played catcher every day. Up through the minor leagues he's played catcher every day. I feel like he would be more comfortable. But then the game that he went 4 for 4 with a home run, he was DHing that day. So
I just feel like you don't. I mean, but I feel like he is your catcher of the future. So I feel like you definitely want him to.
Plus, they're playing James McCann, who is not good at baseball.
Wait, they still have? I thought they got rid of him after they traded for him.
When Adley Rutschman's been playing DH, James McCann's been starting at catcher.
No way.
Yeah, and he's batting 170.
I mean.
125? It's not.
You don't want to burn out Rutschman's knees or anything, though, in a year that you're probably realistically not going to compete for a playoff spot, though. Like, I mean, you're like with the Orioles, like
That's
the
fair.
future is very much in these next few years. I don't know. Like, do you really want to? I mean, you probably want to protect the face of your franchise as much as you can.
No, it's definitely. I just feel like there's two schools. It's either there's that, but then if you do, you don't want his defense to be a problem when you're actually competing for a real playoff spot. You don't want but I see what you're saying. You also don't want his knees to be worn out when he's 32 years old and now you're finally.
What I think is an interesting question is like when you have that guy who's that good of a hitting catcher, do you try to like over time like teach him first base or something like that?
That's what I was about to say. I mean, Mauer did it, right?
Not well.
To like increase that longevity, but again with like
did it.
But again with Mauer, like it was too late. He still only had a 10-year career.
Then he was horrible at first base.
But then
do you think that like if you're an MLB team, like do you try to get a guy like out of the catcher position over time to like increase his longevity as a hitter?
But now they also have a luxury. I feel like a lot of teams, the catching spot is such just like an out almost.
Yeah.
It feels like it's almost like the pitcher's batting ninth again for a lot of teams.
Yeah.
So it's like if you have a guy that can hit, but I see what you're saying. Again, if he's 25, in 4 years, if he's catching every day, it's like you're just kind of ruining.
But on the other hand, you look at a guy like Real Muto. His whole value is the fact that he's a catcher that can steal bases and a catcher that has power and average, and a guy that's also the best defensive catcher in the game. So I mean, it could go either way, but I think I've just seen a lot of catchers that like the longevity is an issue, and I don't want to see a guy like Adley Rutschman that's like could be an MVP candidate just offensively, and just like see his career get cut short, like similar to like the way Mauer's trajectory went. It's an interesting question, I think, but I don't know how easy it is to like learn another position when you've been catching your whole life.
I mean, which guy moved to the outfield? Was it Varsho or something?
Yeah.
I think he's playing pretty well out there, but I mean, he's also a Mets. Yeah, but again, that's pretty rare. No, I feel like catchers did. I mean, Schwarber did it, but it was definitely a learning curve, and still is. He's basically a DH. I mean, he's still.
I mean, he's a better outfielder now than he was, but.
Oh, that was. I remember watching those games. That was hard to watch.
When they tried it in Chicago, like that was
in the playoffs. He was playing the outfield in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't have a choice.
You had to have him in the lineup. Yeah.
Yeah. That was So I don't know. It's an interesting question to see what they like do over time. I mean, it seems like they're already starting to do that if they're DHing him like a lot right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm downplaying how hard it is to play first base. I'm just like, if you can pick the ball at catcher, why can't you pick the ball at first base?
It's not easy. Play the field is a lot different than playing catcher.
Yeah. I feel like it's not that easy. Like, if Joe Mauer's not good at first base, what chance does anybody else have? Got hit 365. If he can't do something, there's a problem. But yeah, I like we said, there's a lot of middle of the pack teams, so it's just like nobody's really. I mean, the Twins have definitely impressed me. That's for sure.
Big time. Their pitching is so good.
With the win today, they're officially locked in their place in second best record in the league right now. Brewers can pick up a win tomorrow and get to 9-4 as well, but
9-4. They're a good team.
Yeah,
a lot of teams kind of just sitting. I mean, again, it's so early. I mean, right now, none of this per se matters, but it's fun to talk about at least.
Yeah.
How about teams that haven't been surprised that are terrible? Like, Detroit, 3-9 to start the year.
Yeah,
pretty much what was expected.
I think the Athletics could break the record for the most losses. I think it's possible. I really do.
Their teams are really bad, man.
I think it's possible. I really do.
I was showing Jake a clip before, like the game I was at yesterday. The right fielder just straight up dropped the fly ball. Like,
it was Rooker, right?
Yeah, it was Rooker. I mean, he also hit a 3-run home run, so he made up for it. And then he hit a 3-run homer today. But I don't know. They very well could. But then the Nationals are just as bad.
They're pretty bad, too.
At least the Nationals have a big prospect for C.J. Abrams, I guess. But, yeah. Terrible roster.
They got a few young guys. Yeah, and they also have a World Series, so they'll be fine.
The Phillies at 4-9.
They started slow last year. I know we're all bugging. They're gonna get Harper back. I think they'll be fine, but I think it's the Braves division.
But
the NL East is the Braves division, and I think nobody's even that close.
I think you have to be good now.
They're in trouble
because the Braves are going to win 100 games. The Mets are going to
no
win
Harper
a lot of games
until All-Star break.
But the Mets were insane right now. Last year weren't the Mets pretty good, and the Mets didn't win the division.
Is he out to the All-Star break? Harper?
I think so.
I think so. Yeah, Tommy John. I know it's not the same as a pitcher,
and then
but
Hoskins out for the year too. I mean, that's another big loss.
Oh,
Hoskins,
yeah.
And I think was it Taijuan Walker's
Yeah.
not looking.
I mean, you had Trey Turner.
Yeah, everyone thought that was gonna be a good signing. He's
this year, but
is he doing a lot? I feel like I haven't heard much about it. I feel like the first couple
he's not hitting very
games,
well. Like he was one of those guys that you mentioned as maybe he steals 50 bags, but like he's hardly been on first base.
He has 3 stolen bases. He is hitting 360.
Okay, never mind.
No homers though. But no homers and 3 RBIs and 8 runs scored.
I was kind of hoping after like his World Baseball Classic that he would kind of continue some of that success.
He's playing fine, but he's not like doing anything. If you look at his like percentile, like if you pull him up, his rankings are low in a lot of categories for hitters. Like a lot, which is surprising. He must have a lot of, find a lot of holes.
I mean, it might be a little bit like acclimating to the team.
No, again, it's early. I think he could also still win the MVP, to be honest with you. But
wow, he's really low.
Yeah, it's actually. I mean, again, a few good games and all those change because it's so early in the season. But it's crazy to see it. So I mean, it's interesting.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. I don't think Schwarber's been doing that well either, right?
I think the whole team just Nola's that whole really no one on that team has done well.
Yeah,
they played one good game again. They scored 9 against Alcantara, and that's it.
Yeah, I know. I'd be kind of worried. I know it's early in the season, but I'd be kind of worried already because you're just gonna. That division's so hard as it is.
Mm-hmm. I think the Braves will win the division by a good amount of games.
I'd like to see Seattle start doing better. They're at 5-8 right now.
They started slow last year too, though. They're young.
Yeah,
I think they'll figure it out.
Yeah, I don't think they're quite there yet, but I mean, I think they can be soon.
What are the Cubs?
Cubs are 6-5.
I feel like they've had some main guys like Stroman are playing pretty well, and
I mean, just the fact that the Pirates are 8-5 tells you a lot about the beginning of the season. Is just kind of a fluke.
Pirates haven't played a team above 500, just like the Rays.
Yeah.
I think Dansby Swanson's hitting 400.
I saw Cody Bellinger hit a home run the other day. I don't know how well he's been doing overall, but
what is he 1 for 30 now?
What the hell happened?
I don't know.
I'm like truly amazed by like some of that, like how something like that happens.
Him and Yelich both. I mean, back and forth in that MVP season, and like hardly anything since.
I feel like Yelich is more surprising because he just has like a compact swing, so you think and doesn't make it compact. I don't know, just like Bellinger was still a free swinger, so it was almost like okay, well that just happens. Yelich didn't seem like much of a free swinger.
I think was it like Brady Anderson like back in the day where like he hit more home runs in 1 year than he did like his whole career before that, and then he had like terrible for the rest of his career. Some like crazy shit. Like I just don't understand like how like career trajectories like that happen.
Like Chris Davis.
Yeah, I mean,
with a C,
that
not
was
with a K.
Imagine the Orioles. The Orioles actually paying somebody, and it's like $30 million to a guy that bats 170 for the next 5 years.
Didn't he start like 0 for like 35 1 year, or even worse? It was like over 50, wasn't it, or something like that?
I don't know. It was bad.
Or how about another team that doesn't spend money? The Reds, given their big deal to Homer Bailey. That Homer Bailey deal is 6 years, $120 million.
Oh yeah. Doesn't he have 2 no-hitters?
He has 2 no-hitters, yeah, which is crazy.
They didn't pay Castellanos. They won't pay anybody, but they'll pay Homer.
How many guys have multiple no-hitters?
Verlander, Bailey,
Scherzer, Nolan Ryan, obviously. But...
He's got like 50. He's got like 100.
Jake Arrieta.
He does have 2. Does Tim Lincecum have 2?
No idea.
Tim Lincecum has 2 Cy Youngs, doesn't he?
He got like, what does he have? Does he have 3 World Series?
Does he? He's on all 3 Giants teams? He might.
Yeah, 10, 12, and 14.
He has at least 2 World Series, I think.
I think he would.
He got 3 World Series. He got 2 Cy Youngs. He's got a no-hitter.
I pulled, just to go back to my other point, I pulled up Brady Anderson. I just want to go to his home run totals. It was 21, 13, 12, 16, 50, 18, 18, 24, 19.
I wonder what gets into guys. I mean, I guess it could be steroids for all we know.
That's crazy. I just don't know. Like Bellinger was going so good that whole season. How does he fall off to the point where he can't even hit his body weight? That's crazy.
Yeah, that's kind of nuts, actually.
I mean, I just don't know how to explain it. But the Braves are now 9-4. They probably just finished their game up now.
Yeah.
Diamondbacks look really strong, man.
Right.
And then it looks like the Brewers and the Padres are the last game of the day. Padres are batting in the bottom of the 9th right now. They just scored 2 runs in the 8th to make it close. So I guess we'll see how Devin Williams does, because he's pitching in the bottom of the 9th, trying to shut down the Padres here and get it to extra innings.
I mean, Soto crushed that ball the other day, but some of his at bats, it doesn't seem to be hitting the ball that well this year. Even last year, it's interesting to see why.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really heard much about Machado or anybody so far.
Yeah, that's a slow start for them, but Soto's interesting because I think they were talking about it on SNY and the Mets broadcast, and they had guys analyze his swing. And apparently, other guys are saying he keeps flying his shoulder open, apparently. Something that we don't see, but apparently that's why he keeps pulling off everything. That's what Harper was doing when he was kind of struggling. Because Soto used to go the other way. He really doesn't go the other way anymore.
We're gonna lock this in here. We gotta watch this game.
What are we gonna Manning cast this thing?
Yeah, we are. He just struck out Soto.
Wait, it's tied?
Yeah, it's tied. They scored 2 runs in the 8th. The Padres scored 2 runs in the 8th to tie it. I just want to go I just want to watch it to see what we were talking about before with kind of
what if Bogarts what if he just launches one right now?
With that to me looks much more like a changeup than what Honeywell's screwball looks like.
I think he throws it like a circle change, doesn't he?
I think
that's got to be
just grip. I just think he just knows how to spin it like that.
That's crazy. Some guys get through. I don't understand how it's possible, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, Bogart's laid off there right there.
Bogarts. So that's another guy that's a good signing so far.
Yep.
I saw a stat that
Nelson Cruz is on deck. Let's go.
He set some record when he 1 year with the Red Sox where he had the most extra base hits to start a season, and then this year, I mean, kind of the same thing. He's got a lot of doubles and driving the ball pretty well to start the year.
And I remember Xander Bogaerts last year in that Red Sox jersey was one of those players that greatly exceeded his expected statistics, unusually high.
Mm-hmm.
Batting average, percent, all of them were way over what he was expected to have. How many teams does Nelson Cruz play for now? Is this 10?
I mean, that's got to be. I mean, you got the Rangers, Orioles, the Rays, now the Padres.
It's probably 8.
Twins.
It's got to be at least Twins.
Yeah. I mean, who was the guy that was it Edwin Jackson that was played for 11 teams or something, 12 teams?
I think it might have been. He threw no hitter with 8 walks, I think.
Yeah, just like AJ Burnett when he threw 8 walks.
AJ Burnett, Yankee legend. Remember Jared Weaver? The guy threw 80 miles an hour. Made a whole career out of it.
There's that changeup.
Screwball,
changeup. It's a changeup. I'm not calling it a screwball. It's a changeup.
I love those.
MLB The Show calls it a screwball.
Oh man!
I'm amazed that Nelson Cruz is batting 5th for the Padres right now. 40.
I think he's having a decent year. I think he's having a solid year. Yeah.
He's like really? 50 and he can't run, but like I think he's having a really good year.
I mean, he hits the ball to the fence or it's in the gap, so he's got at least a double or more.
Yeah, I mean, the Brewers. I like the Brewers this year. It'd be cool if they were good. I also got to get myself. Cardinals. I got to get myself to Miller Park or whatever the hell it's called now.
So do I. American Family Field. Yeah, I got to get there.
Yeah. I mean, you'll be right there when you move.
Yeah, hour and a half.
Yeah. I got to make a trip where I just go to Chicago again, and then just go to Milwaukee and get myself down to St. Louis too.
Yeah, St. Louis is 5 hours from there.
Have you been to Cleveland, Connor? Because I know when we tried to go that one.
No, still haven't been to Cleveland.
We got rained out when we tried to make that trip.
Yeah.
No, I have not been to Cleveland.
It's a stadium. It's a stadium.
Yeah. I mean,
kind of like Cincinnati, similar. Cincinnati is cooler because they have the area around it. But
I know. I think the left field wall in Cleveland's cool.
Yeah, it's. Yeah, I mean it's not a bad thing. It's middle of the pack, I would say.
Yeah.
For me, but.
What's your least favorite? Oh God, the Chicago White Sox.
Yeah, probably that.
That park is terrible. Bad location.
That is.
Just bad everything.
I don't know what it is about it. It's just it just sucks. I don't know why. I couldn't like.
It's just kind of old. There's nothing. There's only like the food there just wasn't really that good.
It isn't that old. Like Comiskey Park was around for a while. Like wasn't that built in like the 2000s?
Really?
I thought
a lot of those ballparks made in like the early 2000s to like mid 2000s are like haven't done well or like have gotten new stadiums now though. It's like weird. Like Busch Stadium's one of the few that's like regarded as like a good stadium. It seems like I think the Braves have a new one, don't they? And they built one in the early 2000s.
True, yeah, and theirs looks cool. I mean, I guess it could be just if you go to. I mean, it did look cool. Remember they had that playoff game, couple playoff games there a couple years ago, and that seemed like a cool environment at least. Maybe just the game you go to also. Like I went to a day game on like a Thursday. Yeah. Like I mean, I guess to be fair, or a Wednesday or something. Like I guess the Blue Jays like no one's going to be there.
Yeah.
And it's hot in the summer. Like
the only White Sox game I went to was when they were playing the Twins, and the Twins won that game 23-0, and like hit back-to-back home runs at one point. It was crazy.
That would be a cool game to be at, though.
Yeah. I feel like it'd be cool, but I feel like it would get.
I enjoyed it, but like it was ridiculous. They batted around like two or three times in that game. It was crazy.
I mean, this was a few years back. Like we just went to go to Wrigley, and then we were like, all right, we can go to a White Sox game. And the tickets were $7 for a Tigers White Sox game.
Oh my god!
And it was there was no part of it that was even worth $7. We left in like the 6th inning, as we were like, this is.
I think we might have left like earlier than that. It was bad. We went to the Cubs game that night. I remember.
I think Willie Adames just hit a foul ball that looked like it was gonna get into the left field ball there. But I don't really have anything else. That kind of rounds out everything that I wanted to talk about and cover. I don't know if there's any big like matchups coming up. Any like good series. I'm gonna look into that.
Twins Yankees this weekend.
Mets Dodgers. Twins Yankees. Mets Dodgers.
Not a good game.
I mean, hopefully the other games go better than giving up 9 runs in the first inning. That would that was kind of rough to watch. Tampa, Toronto. We'll get to see Tampa play a good team.
That should be a fun one.
I mean, the Brewers Padres. The Brewers Padres could be a good.
Surely
one.
the Rays dropped one of those three, right?
You would think.
I would think so.
You would think.
You would think so.
You would think, but you would have thought that they would have lost one of the first 13 games of the season too.
Right.
Who else you got here? I mean, Rangers, Astros. That could be an interesting one. I'm not too excited about that one. But
the ground pitch this weekend.
Brewers, Padres. I don't know. I haven't really been following Texas too closely, but
he pitched the gym. I think last week. 7 innings, double-digit strikeouts.
But the Mets play Oakland. That's a big series.
They got the Dodgers though next week on Tuesday.
Brewers Padres starts. It already started because they're playing the Padres right now. But that continues tomorrow, and then I don't know. There's really no other series that I'm super excited about for the next few days, but Mets Dodgers will be good. Mets Dodgers will be good. I'm not sure who the Yankees play after the Twins here.
They put the Angels, actually.
Do they?
That could be fun. Man, with Tani pitches, it's always fun.
Yeah.
Especially in Yankee Stadium, it'll be good.
Talking about that,
I have an Orioles game.
That Rays Blue Jays series. Tomorrow the pitching match is Rasmussen versus Barrios. Like, what has happened to Jose Barrios after he got traded?
I was about to say, the Blue Jays need him badly because, like, they got nothing. They got Gosman, but other than that,
he was the highest ERA among qualifiers last year.
Right? I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
It was like a 5.6.
Yeah. Well, no, was it Corbin the highest?
Yeah, Corbin.
I don't know if he qualified.
Patrick Corbin had like a
Corbin has
ERA because I know he set the franchise record.
I don't know
ERA.
I don't know if he qualified though. I don't know if he pitched enough innings.
Let's hope for his sake.
Because when you
get
let's hope when you get railed and then you get pulled in the third inning in every game, you don't rack up many innings.
Like even this year, Jose Barrios 0-2 with an 11 ERA. Like it's been a terrible start to the year.
I mean, the Blue Jays are going to need him because Manoah's still pitching well, and
I wonder
they need a third starter.
I wonder what he's doing wrong. Like
I don't know. Yeah,
I mean that's probably something beyond our knowledge, but could be tipping pitches a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's possible.
His two starts have been against the Royals and the Angels. Against the Royals, he went 5 2/3, got lit up in the 5th inning, gave up 8 earned that start, and gave up 4 earned in 4 innings against the Angels. Like it's just not pitching well.
I mean, it
is just. I mean, when they traded him, everyone was like, "It's a great trade."
Mm-hmm. So it's got a decent haul. I mean, they got 2 pretty good prospects who haven't really panned out as of yet. They've both kind of fallen down the prospect rankings since they came to Minnesota. But yeah,
I mean, it's better than having a guy. I mean, clearly it's not working out great for the Blue Jays either. So.
I mean, it just seems like the last few years, like his fastball is just getting beat up. Like
he used to have a ton of movement. Maybe he's lost some movement. I don't know. I remember watching him pitch on the Twins. I remember seeing his slider or whatever, or maybe he has a sweeper. I don't know. But it's that thing moved.
Like he was never like a hard thrower. Like his fastball always topped out at like 94. But
he just had a ton of run. I remember he had a lot of run and everything kind of moved. So maybe it's kind of straight now. Who knows?
Yeah, because I can't say I've really watched much of him in a Blue Jays uniform, but
yeah, I mean,
I've seen highlights here and there, but I mean, I never.
32. Why did he start 32 games last year if he had a 5+ ERA? Like, why don't they change that up?
Yeah, you would think.
Why did he not get moved?
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, for all we know, like he could very easily be a great bullpen pitcher.
Yeah,
I mean, he's obviously shown like the ability to have the stuff to get people out. Maybe if you
a lot of the good
give him a shorter leash and just let him throw harder and throw, more intensely and see if it works.
A lot of good bullpen guys. They're kind of like starters that washed up is probably a little bit of a stretch, but maybe they just didn't pan out as starters. And then Andrew Miller and those kind of guys.
I mean, teams hit 288 against him last year. Like, why is he getting? I don't know. Why is he in the rotation?
That's actually crazy. Wow.
Didn't the Blue Jays add a starter too?
Chris Bassett.
Yeah. So I mean,
is he doing? I don't know how well he's doing, but even then, I mean, he's a lot of pressure. I think he's basically their 5th starter now, or 4th, I guess. I don't know who else they have.
I mean, yeah.
Manoah, Gosman, Bassett, and then him, and I don't know who else.
Yeah, I mean, surely you could. I thought you would hope that you could figure something out and throw him in the bullpen, but I don't know.
Maybe they should get R.A. Dickey back.
Yeah, we'll see. Like 47 now.
The knuckleball. Those guys, it doesn't make a difference. They're better when they're old.
Okay, so they still do have Kikuchi, and then Ryu's on the 60-day IL.
Yeah.
Ryu, that's who I'm thinking.
Did he get Tommy John?
I'm not sure.
Can't remember. I think I do.
Did he finish?
He probably wouldn't be in the rotation.
2 years ago?
Who? Ryu?
It was 2 years ago that
he was really in the running. He didn't.
Yeah.
No, I think there was a few. I think there was like 2 years back to back that he was.
3 years ago he was his good season with the Blue Jays when he was the COVID shortened season, and then the year before that with the Dodgers he was really good too. Or no, 2 years with the Dodgers before that he was really really good.
Yeah, he had a
he's a good pitcher.
Yeah. He also
he was in that
27 innings last year. Never mind. Yeah, I was going to say he struggled last year, but I got no sample size.
So I mean, he's probably going to come back this year. I would think. He probably got Tommy John if I had to guess.
Yeah.
So he might be out of the rotation then.
I mean,
not Rio, but
he's also 36 years old. So I mean, like,
right,
coming back from a big surgery like that. I mean,
over 1,000 innings pitched in his MLB career. Like that arm's definitely got some wear on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, I think that rounds out everything for us. So I think we could sign off here.